So today I will be speaking about especially practice with the Development Dust Institute, which is a verified social enterprise based in Vienna. And we in our Dust Institute brings together artists, environmental activists, scientists, and architects to somehow raise awareness about environmental issues and to promote sustainable practices. And this project is particularly dealing with air quality, dust pollution, and the air we breathe. But the journey of Dust Institute started in 2019 in Hong Kong, where I did part of my studies. And coming back from Europe, basically what I experienced in Hong Kong was this kind of like immediate difference between the air quality there and in Europe. So I was somehow like completely overwhelmed by the difference. And it basically influenced how I moved through the city. It influenced my daily exercise, my daily routine, such as exercising, and how I experience basically the entire world. But as we all know, that the air pollution is mostly invisible unless it's basically deconstructed by sensors into a data, or it becomes visible when there is kind of like high pollution events, as we have been experiencing last days in Europe because of the Sahara dust, or as you can see in Hong Kong in high peaks of pollution when there is this haze of toxic dust hovering above the city. And to give you an idea how much air we breathe, we inhale in average 18 kilograms of airborne dusts in average in our lifetime. And in Dust Institute, we've kind of like did an actual physical representation how much 18 kilograms of dust is, to have this kind of idea about the amount of dust particles we involuntarily inhale in our lifetime. But also, as it's scientifically known that the airborne dust pollution is gradually becoming bigger and bigger issue due to climate change, as a kind of like a direct consequence of the way how we live and our lifestyle. We also have to acknowledge that we have to fundamentally change our life in order to survive on this planet. And but in Dust Institute, we are particularly interested to somehow dissect this statement in the way that the general population is able to understand the link between their individual actions and the effect on especially the quality of air they breathe. So there is clearly a gap between the scientific knowledge that we have and the actions what are needed in order to implement them. So that's why in Dust Institute, we started to work with a methodology that we call nature cultural learning. That is a concept inspired by Donna Haraway, Naturkulturlernen. And it takes the inspiration from natural processes and implement artistic research methods joined with scientific knowledge with an aim to raise awareness about environmental issues, and in our case, it's airborne dust. So therefore, we've created citizen science tools that are able to lift our perception and help us imagine what kind of invisible particles are somehow all the time floating around us. And we've developed a device that can successfully transform this invisibility of airborne dust into a tangible, almost kind of like a material experiences. And dust catchers, what you see on the slide now, are foldable and fully recyclable instruments that are designed to visually inform communities what kind of dust is present in the environment. Dust catcher can be delivered to anyone by post as a kit, and this kit contains an actual dust catcher, a string for hanging, and the most important material is the nanofabric, and the nanofabric basically changes color while it is exposed to air pollution. So after the collection of outdoor, or after the device is exposed to the outdoor air, the device, after the collection, you can open it and you can actually identify, based on the gradient, what kind of color you've actually collected in the air which is around you. But in order to somehow locate an appropriate collection site, it's very important for the participants to take into account the direction of the wind, since the wind is the carrier of airborne dust. And we also advise that the device should be always kept or placed in the breathable level. So what you've collected is actually like a representation or material representation of the dust that you are exposed to. And we've also hosting some kind of like an educational gatherings for schools, collection workshops, dust collection workshops for kids and the members of the public. And the aim of this workshop is to somehow collect the dust together and somehow raise awareness about the air, about the quality of air that we are breathing. And after we've done this many times and we received all the samples, we somehow transformed the samples in a so-called air calendar. So after the walk, it's possible to somehow see the differences in collected dust in terms of its visuality. So you can clearly see that there are kind of like visual differences in these samples that are collected. But also, once we somehow grasped the significance of airborne dust and how it affects society, culture, environment, and our bodies, we wanted to create actually a space that amplifies our understanding of these invisible particles that we breathe all the time. And our goal was to design an actual experience that allows us to physically sense air pollution instead of just looking at sensors and data. So, and that's the way how we came up with this device called Dust-Free Chamber, which is an outdoor interactive installation. And it converts the air pollution data into a interactive encounter that connects the visitor and the visitor with its surrounding. Here you can see one of our installations in Museumsquartier here in Vienna. And the device works in a way that it works basically as a giant air filtration device. So every molecule inside of this device is processed through a high-tech nanofilters that can catch all invisible particles. And basically the amount of air that is inside equates the number of liters of air we inhale on average. So it's like a representation of the amount of air that we inhale daily. And the air inside is due to the powerful fans exchange every 21 seconds. So it means that whenever you enter the space and you bring some dust with you, it's immediately filtered away. We equipped the interior with the guided meditation practice. So you put on your headphones and there is a special breathing practice designed to last to 5 to 6 minutes. And this kind of very simple exercise with breathing techniques helps clear visitors' breathing ways and are able to feel the dust-free environment even better. We've designed the interior as a kind of a soft surface environment where the visitors can get comfortable and kind of enjoy this basically a feeling that they've never felt before. And I somehow also referred to this feeling inside that you basically breathe prehistoric air because there is basically no air, no dust particles that are coming from the industry. And the most important moment is once you basically step out from the chamber itself, because then you can feel the difference. Once you are kind of used to breathe this very clean air inside after stepping out, and with the first breath of this regular air, you actually feel kind of this heaviness or this kind of perception quality of the air of the actual of the actual environment. Yes, and the installation, we've done many kind of like funny things as well. We've been also organizing performances inside to somehow get the attention of the audience. And this is on one of our interventions, also during the nights. And kind of visual thing what we've done inside was that we've installed a therapeutic light. And this therapeutic light was basically navigating the audience to breathe in a certain rhythm, in a perfected human breath, because usually we breathe too quickly or too shallow. So the device was, or the light inside was actually blinking in a rhythm of a perfected human breath to somehow align with the perceptual qualities of the space inside. And the great thing about this device is that it can be transported in a backpack, so it can travel the world. And so far, we have kind of like been almost on every continent. We have produced, as you can see the numbers, 5 chambers so far. We have over 35,000 visitors. And we filtered around, you can see the number, how many liters of air was filtered until now. And it's basically also the call to you that once you are interested to somehow borrow or work with the chambers, I mean, feel free to reach to us as well. If you want to implement the dust catcher devices in your practice, feel free to reach us, and yeah, we will make it happen. Thanks.
Yeah, great.
Any questions?
I'm actually quite curious to hear a bit more about the collaboration between the different disciplines. So you said architects, scientists,
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
How do you set up this?
It's extremely difficult and complex thing, because once, I mean, for example, dust catchers are not a scientific device, so they are not precise. They are really just kind of like they have informatory character. And then, I mean, they still implement the scientific knowledge in a way that the air pollution has a certain color. This kind of like the methodology of the dust collection in dust catcher is basically a scientific method how to collect dust particles on a piece of nanofabric. So all these kind of like methodologies are discussed with scientists that are telling you, oh, this is not possible, it's not gonna work. And then the creative minds come to the practice to kind of like test the ideas and to develop aesthetically pleasing and devices easy to use in order to kind of like deconstruct this very kind of like difficult to understand scientific knowledge into very simple devices that are basically kids friendly. And then, of course, I mean, you have to deal with criticism coming from science because it's not scientific enough. Then you need to deal with criticism coming from artists that is not artistic enough. Then you need to also deal with criticism with designers that is not designed enough. I mean, it's basically like working in between all these disciplines is very difficult, but on the other way, very innovative as well. And from my understanding from now on, I mean, not only the academic world is not ready for this kind of like interdisciplinary, because I mean, it's very difficult to find proper reviewers for the projects that are cross-disciplinary in the very kind of like heart of the process of the project. But yes, it's just difficult, I'd say.
Technical question on the chamber. How did you manage the noise issue? I mean, the fan must be strong and the fans must produce some noise.
Well, I mean, it's a spherical geometry, so the noise is distributed completely differently inside. So it's basically canceling any echoes. So, I mean, yes, it's not super silent, but it's silent enough to be able to listen to this meditation. And it's basically, I mean, this kind of like noise is very constant. So it's basically blocking the outside noise in a way. And it's not disturbing to your senses. So it's not, I mean, when you are standing next to the chamber, you can't hear it.
Can you order them
Yes.
for your own project?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I think it's very useful, especially for dissemination of scientific projects. It's kind of like
Yeah,
presentable to the public.
To have some kind of fun
Yeah, exactly.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very visually attractive, so people are automatically curious to discuss these topics after their personal experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.